So 2025 is here, and I know that we all want to be our best selves this year, but sometimes making the changes that we need to make is harder than we think it's going to be. So I want to give you a few tips to really help you start this year out right. Hey friends, my name is Carrie Grace, and I love to talk about all things femininity and living abundantly and stress-free productivity. So if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing. The first thing I want you to do is go ahead in your calendar and every single week, pick a day that you're going to block off as your Sabbath day. Yes, I am asking you to block off an entire day to just rest and allow yourself to recover, to have that margin that you need. And this is where I believe we actually have our greatest creativity, is when we allow ourselves to have a Sabbath. And that can be a day where you are able to reflect on the week that you just lived and ask yourself, what did I accomplish? How can I improve? What am I proud of? And what needs my attention next week? When we allow ourselves that time to just rest and be rejuvenated and reflect, I believe that we set ourselves up for success the next week. Tip number 2 is to allow yourself one day every single week to cover all of that admin stuff. Whether that is taking care of things in your household, your business, your finances, just block off a day and put in that day the most important things that you need to get accomplished. And it may be the stuff that you kind of like put on the back burner all week long, but you know that you need to get it done. Just have a day that you block off and that you intentionally focus on all the admin stuff that you need to get accomplished. And then make sure that that evening you allow yourself to have like a really fun time just celebrating what you've been able to accomplish that day so that you can end your day on a high. All right, third tip. Define your areas of intentional stewardship. This is something that I put into practice over the last couple of months. And what I did was I identified in 2025, what are the 4 main areas that I want to be very intentional to steward. We can spread ourselves really thin and we can try to accomplish a whole lot. But if we don't have those areas that we're going to focus our time and our energy and our attention on, then I don't necessarily think that we can make the greatest impact in what really matters. Figure out what are your top 4 for this year, label those, and then we're going to have a strategy to make sure that by the end of 2025, all 4 of those areas are really thriving for you. Maybe your 4 areas need to include your finances or your health. Maybe it's a relationship that you really want to pour into, or maybe it's your spiritual growth. Whatever it is that you think is most important for you this year, I want you to write it down and then every single day come up with 3 ways that you're going to intentionally steward that area. And I promise you that that intentionality is going to create momentum. And lastly, I want to encourage you this year not to overschedule. Create margin for yourself. It is in that margin and that white space of our lives that I believe we are able to really tap into our best creativity. I've had more strategy and problem solving ability whenever I've allowed myself the time to truly just have some white space and a little bit of a margin than when I'm just constantly keeping myself in that state of productivity and accomplishing, and I'm never allowing myself to step back out, look at things from a different perspective, not just in it, but really be able to look at it. And from that perspective, I have way more creativity to be able to problem solve and come up with new solutions and ideas. So leave yourself some space. Go ahead in that calendar in advance and block off time every week, month, quarter, and then annually. Look for ways where you can create some white space for yourself. And I promise you, if you do that, you're going to accomplish more in 2025 than you've ever imagined. I plan on making 2025 a year where I am not just surviving, but I am really, really thriving. And I want you to do the same thing. So please, in the comments below, share with us, what are the areas that you want to focus on this year? Are you going to focus on Sabbath or maybe being more intentional with those 4 areas of focus? Drop us a comment, and I hope that this year is your best year yet.